Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hockey Podcast. My name is Kevin Olenek. You can follow us on Twitter at podcast_hockey. Like us on Facebook, the Hockey Podcast, and subscribe on Apple or Spotify. And this is, I think, our fourth podcast that we've done this week. And refreshing because we're going to be taking a little bit of a different turn. And Heidi's with us. Hello, Heidi.
Hello.
Heidi representing her we're doing this as a Zoom call. Heidi's representing the Calgary Flames. Heidi, we haven't talked a lot of Flames, really. We haven't delved too much into the Flames, so it'll be nice to do that, won't it?
Yes, it will be. I know the more outspoken people on the podcast have been doing a lot of Canucks-related things this week, and kind of on our weekly pod, but that's okay.
That's fine. We were going to give the space for the Flames here because I think one of the more intriguing series, of course, is the Flames versus the Jets. And our guests today are from the Grit 60 podcast, who follow the Winnipeg Jets. It's Brendan and Connor Farrell. Hello, how are you?
Doing all right. How are you?
Great. So how has it been with taking having the time off and then getting back into hockey in the middle of the hot summer?
Well, hot summer is the way to put it because we live in Florida as we podcast about the Winnipeg Jets. So that is an interesting way to think about it. But it has been interesting. I think we've only put in we took a little bit of time off in the break. And I think we've only had one podcast back so far. So we kind of did a recap pod last week.
Okay. Fair enough.
Another one coming out.
Okay.
Doing something sort of similar to this.
Yeah.
On our podcast. So.
Yeah. So it'll be a good time.
All right. We're looking forward. I'll let Heidi start with the question here, or her first question.
Oh, I'm starting. Jeez. Okay. Jeez, Kevin, you're always the one that always has everything to start with here.
Sorry to throw you off.
Jeez. I just wanted to actually for people who listen to our regular pod, I'm always the one who's I'm less about the stats and the actual, line combinations and things like that. And I'm more about the kind of the personality behind the players and that, and the kind of lifestyle type of stuff. So I want to know how you guys think the Jets are going to kind of fit into this this whole bubble. Maybe talk about some kind of which player might adjust to this better or worse. Maybe comment on Patrick Laine might play some Fortnite, how much Fortnite he might play. You guys have any thoughts about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think Paul Maurice even mentioned that, while back in the old days, having all the teams in the same hotel might be a problem. I think he said something along the lines of now there might just be a giant Fortnite tournament. So who knows?
I could see Laine as the guy to do the Fortnite. Maybe he and Goudreau going back and forth. I don't know.
Yeah, I forget who else in their hotel, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as Hotel X or.
Oh, Hotel X in the East.
Yeah,
where they got the Flyers, Penguins, Caps, Bruins all in the same hotel.
I think the Lightning too.
Well.
Yeah, I haven't seen the exact breakdown of who's in what hotel, but I saw that there's 8 movie theaters that they have access to in Edmonton.
I've also seen that they have access to BMO Field for outdoor recreation or whatever.
Oh, that could be interesting.
Yeah, just a nice little venue to do some outdoor stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of had this thought of the fact that if they playing video games, that they could just try to rent out this theater to actually put video games up on the theater screen, and maybe they'll just go nuts.
And I was thinking during when everybody had time off and everybody was doing, we'll do the esports thing for a while, and I was like, well, why don't they get one young player, and pair them with their coach, and then do 2v2 on the Chell with another team? And then have some personality behind some of these or NHL tournaments that they were doing. But I thought that would have been fun. I don't know if we'll get to see any of that in the bubble. But I was thinking they need to do like an HBO style, like 24/7 type documentary on these hotels. But I don't think we're actually going to get that.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what kind of content we're going to see of that kind of nature outside of just thinking that there's only so many media people allowed and so many cameramen and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm fascinated by that kind of stuff, like what exactly we're gonna see.
The Jets have the Canucks, the Flames, the Wild, the Coyotes, and the Blackhawks all at Sutton Place in Edmonton.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the rest are in the Marriott. But I think the understanding I think it went by record. I think that the West went by record. I'm not sure if they did that necessarily.
Yeah, it pretty much looks like it.
Yeah, they went by record in both. I know at least, yeah, because if you say the West went by record, then I know the East also went by record because they've got basically the round robin teams plus the Penguins in one hotel.
I know for me, I don't know if I want to be in the same hotel as Brad Marchand. I'm still scared he's going to lick me. So,
well, and as long as we're talking about the Flames and the Jets, we don't have to think about that. So
that's entirely fair. A wrong visual for the morning. Who in like we talked about Patrick Laine in terms of Fortnite. Who else I think will have who's going to maybe struggle in the bubble?
I feel like the older guys,
possibly.
Like
I always say, you have to be a little bit insane to play goalie. So maybe Connor Hellebuyck or
I was gonna say Brossois, because he's got all of the insanity of being a goalie while also not playing. Yeah, so that or I could see like Blake Wheeler doing his best "Hello, fellow kids" impression. So.
Oh yeah. He does kind of have, from what I've seen of Blake Wheeler, he does kind of have like cool dad vibes.
That's also fair.
Hey, it could be like a Blake Wheeler versus Mark Giordano in terms of who's the better dad.
Oh. There you go.
Awesome. Well, actually, I would for dad. I would actually argue Cam Talbot has apparently he's now able to like memorize bedtime stories. So he's been FaceTiming his kids like every night.
Oh.
And he's like memorized bedtime stories now.
Oh wow!
So I think I'm actually not thinking that on the Flames side of that question, Kevin, that there's lots of the young guys on the Flames, and I think they're all buddies. I actually can't see really any of them not really struggling. I don't think. I'm more interested in like, I don't know, like people like how's like Brad Treliving gonna like deal with this, or Jeff Ward, or the players. I think are fine. Some of these the management and the coaches and stuff. I'm interested to see what they're gonna how they're gonna handle this.
Yeah, that I think is true. I feel like maybe I'm wrong here with Jeff Ward. I feel like Jeff Ward's a little bit more. Although a bit new school, he has a bit of old school to him. I would suspect Maurice would be better at handling the bubble than Jeff Ward. Am I wrong?
I don't know too much about the personalities of Jeff Ward. Paul Maurice seems like I feel like he'd be pretty mellow in the bubble. I don't know if mellow is the right word.
Paul Maurice is definitely the kind of guy to like have like a hotel room by himself and be totally content with it the entire time.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he'd handle it well. I don't know anything about Jeff Ward, though.
That's fair.
I think this is the time that we're really going to see the personalities of some of these players really, really come out. I think it'll be a time to like follow their Instagram accounts and their Twitter accounts and stuff too, and see what they're going to be doing. Like I'm as somebody who loves all that stuff. I'm fascinated by all of it. So I'm almost just as excited about that stuff than I am about the actual hockey.
Well, if they're lifting the team dress codes as well, then we might get some interesting, outfits players are wearing into the games. I don't know if we'll get any Cam Newton-esque attire, but
yeah. So I don't know, I heard about Minnesota has to have they have to have polo shirts, and I think they have 3 choices of polo shirts, and they have to wear pants that they have to wear. I heard it in passing, I think on Vancouver radio, that apparently they were thinking about doing matching tracksuits for the Canucks, but then I didn't hear anything else after that. I haven't heard anything about the Flames yet. Have you guys heard anything about the Jets?
Not really. I remember there was a player. It wasn't a Jets player. I don't remember who it was. And it was an NHL player saying that he was excited to maybe just roll out of bed and wear whatever down to the rinks. I assumed it was league wide, but.
There was one day on my Twitter timeline where everybody was reporting what the teams were wearing. I was like, I don't really care.
But if you want to do matching tracksuits, I think that's a good way to label yourself as the supervillain of the tournament this year.
That's true.
The super, how in all these sports movies, the bad guy is always. Or the team that's the villain team.
Yeah.
Always we've got all the money. We all got all matching stuff.
Right. Yeah.
All in sync.
Especially if you just have the Supreme label on there.
Yeah.
It fits the look perfectly.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
If the Canucks want to go super villain route, sure. That's a character you can play.
Is there anything that you guys just think that maybe they should just be able to wear whatever they want, or maybe they should be maybe at least wear something with their team name on it or the colors or something?
I feel like they should probably just wear whatever, but also still look nice. Kind of all have the same vibe, sort of professional casual, but other than that, do whatever.
Nah, I don't really care.
Yeah. Most of that I just don't really care.
But if I'm not going to tell Mark Scheifele what to wear going into the game.
That's fair. That's fair. With me, I'm thinking maybe more along the lines what you see when they say have a practice day at the rink, and they're interviewing the guys and they're wearing their whatever the millions of Flames or Jets T-shirts that they get for free, or hoodie or something like that, and then they're usually wearing shorts and a cap or something. So maybe as long as they're wearing something branded.
If Connor Hellebuck makes 50 saves in a game, I don't really. He can wear whatever he wants.
No, listen. I know it's the summer, but I need to see Connor Hellebuck in that beanie that he had on for the Winter Classic.
Yes.
Or the Heritage Classic or whatever.
Apparently it's called a toque. People get really.
We never wear those.
Yeah,
why would I know what that is?
Yes, I know what you guys were referring to, but I was about to be it's called a toque, but yes.
Yeah. See.
Again, why would I know
lingo
this?
Is important.
I always imagine beanies are the same thing, but they're the ones that are made out of a much lighter material, and you can wear it.
Just the two has the little ball on top. Is that the only difference? Or?
I think it's the material and the it's a different style. Beanies, think alternative
slouchy.
pop bands. They're too indie for us to know.
Got it.
Whereas a toque is the.
Okay, so it's more a Portland versus Canada sort of deal.
Sort of. Yeah.
Anyway,
yes.
Yeah, no, I get what you guys are saying. You guys must have thought that was just super amusing with the Heritage Classic and the toques over the helmets and stuff like that.
Great.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic look. Yeah, the helmet and the toque.
Yeah, that kind of stuff would be hilarious. I'm gonna be interested to see what these guys are. As you said though, especially you said with Hellebuck and especially with David Rittich too, he's also kind of Mr. Personality and kind of doesn't give a fuck either. So I think he'll also kind of wear whatever he wants to.
True. to move just into a bit more, move into the hockey part of this. To let you know, we did our all-Canadian. We did a draft of all Canadian teams, so all of the 7 teams in Canada: Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Winnipeg, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, and so of everyone that played on those teams. We just did that. We'll be releasing that soon. But the thing that came out most when we picked Winnipeg Jets, and spoiler alert, we picked a lot of Winnipeg Jets, actually. I think there was only one time that we did not say that the player was underrated. Would you say that the Jets are being a little bit underestimated here?
Yes and no. Yes, in that, I can kind of see aspects about that team that may make you think that they're better than they actually are, right? Like, not many teams have both a Mark Scheifele and a Kyle Connor and a Patrick Laine, as well as we're talking underrated. I feel like Nikolai Ehlers is one of the most underrated players in the league right now. So you got that too. I mean, their depth on the wings is pretty decent, but the problem is that after Mark Scheifele, they've got nobody down the middle.
Yeah, their center depth is not going. I don't think their center depth allows them to make any sort of run this year.
Yeah, and their defense is just god awful. So
yeah, well, with the addition of Dylan DeMello,
right? Like, there's a reason why Connor Hellebuyck is a serious Vezina candidate, and one of them is that the rest of the team around him isn't super great, but somehow they're in traditional playoff contention. So
not just if the Connor Hellebuyck doesn't win the Vezina, I think we riot.
Fair.
Well, that's been our social media brand for ever since the lockdown started.
What else do you want our social media brand to be?
I know. It's just every time I see Connor Hellebuyck, whatever, on my timeline or whatever, I go over to our podcast account and make some sarcastic remark or something.
Every post game is, well, the team was okay, but really we won because Connor Hellebuyck was in net.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess that would be my point of trying to say, are the Jets underrated? I would say the team as a whole hasn't performed that well this season, so probably no. But we've got Connor Hellebuyck, so they might be able to string a few wins together.
The Jets are in this realm where it's because they have, if they get pre-lockdown Connor Hellebuyck, I could see them winning a round or two, but also at the same time, because the rest of the team is pretty meh, and who knows what's going to happen with goaltending after the long break. I'm also, I could definitely see them getting bounced in the first round too. So
you guys are kind of the wait and see. You're not totally hyped and think they're gonna sweep or win, but you're not. You recognize that you're not completely hopeless.
Yeah, either. It's definitely a feeling of kind of I don't know. I'm losing the way I wanted to phrase this, but yeah, it's kind of we're playing with house money a little bit, right?
We shouldn't.
Right, we got the playoff shot that we probably might not have gotten in the first place.
I mean, well, we don't know that because they started to play a little bit better right before the break.
But if things go wrong, hey, you got a 12.5% chance at Lafreniere.
Yeah, you stick Lafreniere in this lineup next season, that's a whole different team.
Yeah, so
I think that's out of all the teams to win the lottery that could possibly win the lottery. I think the Jets have one of the more fun cases.
Well, you also got the Penguins in the.
No, we're not doing that. But. We're not doing Lafreniere to Pittsburgh. That is not. We're not sticking Lafreniere on a team with Crosby and Malkin already.
That's not fair.
Same thing with the Oilers.
The Oilers don't deserve it either.
And Draisaitl.
I think it's fair to say if Lafreniere ends up with the Oilers, I think we all riot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It'd be a collective riot of every other team.
Yeah.
I think.
So what about the job that Paul Maurice has done? I mean, I think the big story, and we had Bryce Chevalier from Faux Center on, and he does defensive stats, and he talked about where the Jets are defensively, and you kind of talked about it too. If it wasn't for Hellebuyck, you wouldn't be in this situation. What about the job that Paul Maurice has done?
So I can see kind of positives and negatives because he was kind of dealt a rough hand this season because they don't know that for a while they didn't know what Dustin Byfuglien was going to be doing. So, and that kind of came either right at the beginning of camp or just before camp started, where Dustin Byfuglien decided, yeah, maybe this isn't the season for me. And so suddenly Paul Maurice has to change almost everything, right? And then Brian Little's out for the entire season because he gets hit with a slap shot in the back of the head or right behind the ear. So it's just like, okay, well, there goes our 2C or 3C or whatever. And our best defenseman or second best defenseman, depending on how you want to evaluate Josh Morrissey. So I think that's kind of a rough hand, but at the same time, you look at a lot of the way that Jets play and you go, they're not really controlling the game very much. They're not creating too many chances, and the other teams are getting a bunch of chances. So it's kind of a mixed bag. They're winning games. There's, their top lines are scoring goals. So there's different things to take away from this. And I'm kind of stuck with, I don't know if you give this guy the extension that they gave him.
Yeah, it's a little weird to me where it feels like pretty much every coach that was fired this year was fired because their goaltending sucks and not really because they're a bad coach, right? Like Bruce Boudreau in Minnesota mostly fired because Devin Dubnyk was terrible this year. One of the reasons why Toronto fired Babcock was in addition to being kind of a not great person. They didn't have any goaltending this year. Vegas fired their coach because they couldn't really get any goaltending this year. So, and then you have the opposite of that in Connor Hellebuyck and the Jets, where it's just like, I'm not really sure how much of it you can chalk up to Paul Maurice because Connor Hellebuyck was playing like a god in front of really awful defense.
So when you say really awful defense, do you really feel that way, or do you feel like that? Yeah, like you like don't. There's no dark horse in there that we're underestimating in that defense.
Maybe like it was such a small sample size, I can't really say for sure, but maybe because they added Dylan DeMello at the trade deadline and they played a little better after that, like. Maybe the Jets defense in the playoffs won't be as bad as it was in the regular season, but still, it's not great.
This is a team that consistently gave ice time to Lucas Sabiza.
It's looking at the Jets defense is just don't do that.
You got Josh Morrissey, and then you got, there are other, like
Pionk's okay.
Pionk's okay, but he's not really good in his own end.
And that's it.
You got Kulikov, who's that's okay.
That's really it.
Yeah. So really, you guys do not like your defense.
Beaulieu is a guy.
I'm a little more vocal about it, but the Jets defense is just so bad that there's really no reason why the Jets should have even been in this position in the first place.
So other than the fact that Hellebuyck is making up for
to me, if Hellebuyck is just an average goaltender this year, they would have been in the lottery.
Yeah. So you think the reason why he's getting that Vezina nomination is almost because the Jets defense is so bad and he's
the Jets defense being so bad makes him look really good, but he's also just really good.
Yes. Yeah.
You mentioned Nikolai Ehlers is one of the most underrated players in the league. Why do you feel that?
He's one of the few really good play drivers that the Jets have, and I don't know. Also, he's just really good at a lot of the smaller things where it's just entering the zone.
Yeah,
he's pretty decent in both ends, which is a rarity on the Jets roster.
So we look a lot at advanced metrics like expected goals and things and a lot of his metrics are defensively are good. But that's not because he's good defensively. It's because his team has the puck when he's on the ice. And so the other teams aren't.
Yeah, he's basically one of the few guys that doesn't get completely buried in his own zone and also tracks back defensively.
I like Ehlers because I can watch him and he'll skate like just blow past like 4 guys all at once. Like he'll carry the puck through the neutral zone, blow right through the neutral zone, and track like 3 guys with them, and then he'll have a teammate wide open because he's tracking 3 guys with them, and then he'll find them, and that'll be a goal scoring opportunity. Which is why I think they need to put Line A on his line more consistently. But that's just my opinion.
So you want to see sort of an Eakin Ehlers Line A line?
Well, I don't know about Eakin, but that's enough.
Okay, for the qualifiers, I think obviously
like Cody Eakin is nothing more than like a bottom tier third center.
Yeah.
So to put him at second center is just a disaster.
Honestly, when Blake Wheeler played center, I know he's not really a center. When he played second line center for a little bit this season, I thought he did a pretty good job. So I think ideally you would have Ehlers, Wheeler, Line A. But then I don't know what you do, because Scheifele and Connor are probably going to still be on the first line. I don't know who you put in that right wing slot there, because it's probably – I would put Jack Roslovic up there, but I don't know if it's necessarily.
Yeah, the problem that the Jets have had for like the last 3 seasons is that they don't have a second line center. And between Paul Stastny, who they brought in a couple of years ago and then left, and then Kevin Hayes last year, and then Cody Eakin this year. Like Cody Eakin is by far like the worst of those 3. So, yeah, I still feel like Blake Wheeler is their best option at second center, but even then, I'm not really sure if that's the greatest option for a playoff team.
If they had a healthy Brian Little, how would you feel?
Ian's still like, There's a reason why, like, when Brian Little was playing second line center, they were acquiring other people to play second line center.
Fair enough.
I think Brian Little's one of those people that I think National Hockey League people think a little higher of, maybe. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Heidi, did you have a question?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. So Patrick Laine, what was the difference this year than last year? He got off to that hot start a couple years ago, and then he tailed off. This year, was he better or worse than last year?
I think it was better. I think there's more confidence.
Yeah. Confidence, I think, is key. And I would throw out there a lot of times when you get guys like Patrick Laine, you pay him to score goals. That's what he does. And when you got scorers like that, a lot of times they can just be streaky. And I think last year, part of it, not all of it, this isn't to say, well, he just had some bad luck last year. But I think at least in part is that he was a little bit streaky last year. And, well, a lot of it streaky last year. And he's found a bit more consistency this year. So I don't know if that makes any sense.
Well, also, I think he was doing more this year than just scoring goals. Well, he only scored 28 this year. He probably would have been on track to top last year's total of 30. But he also had 35 assists, which is more than he's had in any other season.
Yeah, so more of a playmaker. And what about the one I do think, this guy I do think is one of the closer to one of the more underrated players in the league, in my opinion, Mark Scheifele. What does he bring to the Jets? How tough of a matchup is he going to be for the Flames?
Well, if the Flames can get his matchup, so Paul Maurice almost always uses that Scheifele line in the attacking end. So if they can get that matchup in the attacking end, the Jets can probably score some goals while they're on the ice. If the Flames can get the puck out of the attacking end and start getting down to the defensive end, then the Jets have a problem while Mark Scheifele's on the ice. So that's something to keep an eye out is, who is doing the attacking? Because a lot of times they'll give Scheifele's line the offensive end starts, and he's got, incredible shooting percentage this year. Stats nerds like to say, well, that's going to regress down at some point. Take from that what you will. Maybe he's a good shooter. But he does play with Kyle Connor, who also is very good at goal scoring and that sort of thing. So he's going to be a problem because he can score goals and he can create goals and create chances. He's not very good at keeping the puck out of his own net.
Yeah. Yes, like on paper, like that 1-2 tandem of having Scheifele and Kyle Connor on the same line, like offensively they're great. Other than that, not so much, as in like some of the defensive impacts that Scheifele and Connor have together are like some of the worst in the league. So regardless of which end they're at, the puck's going in the net.
Oh,
somebody's scoring. Yeah. Somebody's scoring. And it's just a matter of, okay, are the Jets scoring or are the Flames scoring? Or do we get a Connor Hellebuck appearance?
So, where do you feel the Jets have the edge over the Flames? If we look at this matchup, where is one area you think, like from the Jets' perspective, this is where the Flames can expose the Flames, or do you feel that at all?
Yeah, goaltending.
Yeah, I mean, well, one team has, probably the favorite for the Vezina, and no offense, but I feel like the Flames, like I had to double check and make sure who is starting a goal for the Flames.
We still don't know.
We're double checking as well.
Yeah, it could be Riddick. Could be.
I kind of just assumed that because Riddick played for he had more games. I just kind of assumed that they were going to go with Riddick.
I just get confused because is it Cam Talbot that they've got, or is Cam Talbot over in Edmonton?
No, Cam Talbot's here now.
Yeah. I still spent the entire year adjusting too. So
we get these rental goalies all mixed up.
Yeah.
It seems like every couple of years they are traded to another team or they're a free agent.
It just doesn't help that Edmonton and Calgary swap goalies in the offseason.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We swapped goalies. We swapped James Neal and Milan Lucic. So that's also a swap there too. That's understandable that you could be understandable you could be confused like that. But yeah, I still don't think it's 100% set on who's actually starting for Calgary, because I don't remember what the numbers were, but Cam Talbot's numbers in the games that he played were amazing. So, but he again didn't play as many games as Rittich has. So I think from what I'm getting out of the scrimmages as well, I don't actually think Rittich is playing as well in the scrimmages, but I don't know how much to really look into scrimmages and how I should be taking that seriously or not seriously. So it's still up in the air. I'm not going to be upset by either choice, so we'll see what happens when they play the exhibition game.
Yeah, I was looking through an article from The Athletic on basically ranking the Flames roster in terms of most important players to least important in the postseason. They put they put David Riddick at 3 and then Cam Talbot at 10. So
are you reading
8 actually? So
you're reading into that they
that. If both of your goalies are in the top 10 of most important, I kind of feel like that kind of tells you where you're at in terms of we have a starter, we think, but there's another guy there just in case.
We have a 1A and 1B situation.
Yeah, and that's what we say that we have here is for sure. It's always been a 1A, 1B situation here for this entire year.
Growing up as a Flyers fan, I am very cautious of tandems. Because goalies are weird, and I don't trust them.
Well, it's fair. Talbot's last 5, he was 4-1. He had a shutout against Florida in there, and made 32 saves against Arizona. 26 saves against the Ducks. He had a bit of a tough game against save percentage-wise against Boston. I can't remember that game.
Yeah, but everybody's got a tough save percentage game against Boston.
That's true. Rittich is... I don't know. Well, I think one of Riddich's theories, there's a couple of theories. We had Kevin Woodley on our podcast from In Goal Magazine, and one of the suggestions was he was wondering is he changed his goalie equipment, and he wondered if that was part of it. I'm wondering how much that Oiler game at the end of January when Talbot fought Mike Smith after the stick flip and everything that happened. I wonder how much that took out of him, because he was not the same after that. So I don't know. I'm leaning that I think the Flames are going to. I think the Flames are not. I'm with Heidi. They haven't decided yet, but I have a funny feeling they're going to. Game 1, you'll see Cam Talbot, not David Riddick. So
that's interesting, because I was going to say Game 1 we'll see Riddick, and if he doesn't perform, then we'll see Cam Talbot. So who knows? I'm thinking we'll see Riddick though for the exhibition game though.
Little $5 wager here.
A beer, yes.
Yes.
Actually, wait, a beer is $10 now.
Yeah, I was going to say a beer's like closer to $10.
Yeah. So from the Flames perspective, from you guys, for the Flames perspective, what are you worried about from the Flames? Where are you like, what the Flames can beat us? Like, what's your kind of worry about the Flames?
They're not a total dumpster fire when it comes to playing defense. And, I mean, you give a guy like Johnny Gaudreau or Matthew Tkachuk or Sean Monahan too many chances, like they'll kill you with those. So I feel like that's probably the problem spot.
And I would throw in there, I don't know if the Jets, so from what I don't remember the names specifically, but I remember looking at the Flames lines and I was going, okay, they've got a pretty strong first and second line. I don't know if the Jets have, if we go, okay, they go first line on first line, okay, fine. I don't know if the Jets have an answer for the Flames' second line, at least as a way to contain them.
The Backlund Tkachuk, do you mean Backlund, Tkachuk, and Mangiapane?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know if the Jets have a good counter to that. Maybe they throw in Andrew Kopp, who's one of their better two-way forwards, in his line out there. But
I'm intrigued.
And then if you assume they've got Morrissey and DeMello playing with that top line, who do you got behind Andrew Kopp? Probably Kulikov, Beaulieu, something like that. And it's like,
yeah.
What are you?
Not worth talking about.
What are you gonna do? Like, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents there.
I think one matchup I'm really looking forward to watching is, and I don't know how much we get it, but I think we'll get a lot of it, is Matthew Tkachuk versus Blake Wheeler.
Okay.
Because I mean, I think Heidi loves Matthew Tkachuk, so she'll back me on this. Matthew's very good at making friends.
Oh yes, I can tell.
And I think Blake might be a guy that Matthew may do some friendship touring with. But I just
Blake Wheeler's not going to tolerate it.
Well, yeah,
which is exactly what Matthew Tkachuk wants.
That's Matthew Tkachuk. Yeah, that's what Matthew Tkachuk is hoping.
I feel like that Wheeler's experienced enough to not play into it.
Yeah. But I can also see Blake Wheeler being the type of guy to be like, okay, kid, what are you going to show me that I haven't already seen? I don't know how to personify this mentality, but I've got an image in my head.
Yeah, that's true, Kevin. I didn't even think about who is Matthew Tkachuk going to pick on, but yeah, we'll see for sure.
Yeah, it'll either be Wheeler or Laine, I would think.
I think Laine might be a fun little dance partner with him.
Well, the one thing I actually think Patrick Laine is one of the better interviews in hockey. Just go back to him. I mean, one of my favorite. I just need a bed and video games, and I'm good. I'll just go to this bubble.
There was a great interview just from the recent training camp where there was a play in training camp where I think it was Kyle Connor fed him a no look behind the backhand pass right into the slot, tape to tape, and Laine buries it. And they asked him about that in the interview afterwards, and they go, "Are you going to give Kyle Connor any credit for that?" And he goes, "No, I mean you got to, at this level you got to expect the tape to tape." He was totally joking, but you got to expect that kind of thing. But you got to have someone to bury it, so that's all me. It was a great little line there.
Yeah. Fair.
Oh no, it was Ehlers. It was Ehlers because they go back and forth between the Finnish and Danish connection.
Yeah.
It was Ehlers, not. It was Ehlers and not Kyle Connor.
Heidi,
Yes.
what were you going?
I was just going to say that sounds like Laine.
Yeah.
It's just very like straightforward, and yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
So How are you? So, in terms of this matchup between the Jets and the Flames, who are you thinking is going to come ahead?
We're thinking Jets, I think.
I'm going to give the Jets the edge. Assuming we get post or pre-break Hellebuck, I think he can probably steal us a game or two, and in a best of 5, that might be all you need.
I could totally see multiple 30 save games from Hellebuck, and then Scheifele and Connor just
they go on a shooting
ender.
And
against the Calgary goaltending. Hey, I mean, even though the Jets aren't super great at driving a lot of dangerous offensive chances, they've got the guys who can just bury the few chances that they get. So
yeah.
I would not be surprised if this is Jets in 5.
I would agree.
Fair. Heidi, where are you at it?
I will give the edge to the Flames. But I think that it's going to go to at least 4 or 5 games. I can see it being close, for sure. One thing I can, this is kind of a question too, if something happens to Connor Hellebuck, he gets injured or he just happens to have a bad game, are the Jets done?
Yeah, bad game. I'm not. If he has one bad game, I'm not too concerned. If he gets hurt, pack it in. We'll get the lottery.
It's over if there's an injury.
If he has one bad game, then it's one bad game.
If there's an injury or if he tests positive, it's over. It's just raise the white flag. It's done.
I don't know about raising the white flag, but
it's pretty much over.
Okay, so just with that kind of chance of that kind of happening and stuff like that, I can't I don't think any team's gonna full out win this. As I said, just maybe because of that of that risk, and with the Jets defense not being that great, I'm gonna give the edge to the Flames. But I think it's gonna be close.
And we both say that it's gonna go 4 or 5 games. This being the NHL, someone's going to sweep this series, because just when you think you've got a good picture of what you think is going to happen in the NHL, the opposite thing happens. I don't know which team is going to sweep, but seeing that we both think it's going to go 4 or 5 games, someone's going to win in 3.
Well, it better not be the Flames again, because that was very upsetting last year. Even though we didn't get technically swept, but we won 1 game, but still, I would rather that not happen to the Flames. So.
See, I'm of the belief that I don't think that there's going to be any sweeps in any of these qualifiers. I think every series will go at least 4. For me, I think there's going to be an adjustment upon an adjustment. The way I see the Jets Flames series going for the first game, I think we're looking at a 6-5 game. I think that this will be one of the higher scoring games of this, and probably one of the higher scoring series. But I think it's going to be about who adjusts to the unknowns, the fake crowd noise, empty seats, the ice conditions, which I think is going to be fascinating for the Jets and the Flames, because they're playing at 3 different times, whereas Minnesota and Vancouver for the first 2 games they're playing late at night. So I think they'll have a different, they'll have a consistent ice where I don't know if the Jets and Flames will. I don't know. But there's just so many factors in this that it's hard for me to believe that there's going to be a sweep.
Well, I'm going to take the opposite stance on this, because if there's anything I learned from watching how soccer came back from the break, watching the English Premier League and watching the MLS, some of these teams are going to be much better much better prepared to play coming out of the break than others.
And some of these games might just be ugly.
Some teams are not going to handle the break well, and some teams are going to handle the break much better than you would think they will. So I think it's not going to. We're going to have a matchup where one team takes the break in stride and one team does not take the break well at all. And if that happens, we're going to someone's going to lose in 3.
Fair.
I feel especially if one team wins 2 games, the first 2.
Yeah.
I think that team might just be why are we even here at this point, right? we're playing during a pandemic. We're down to like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
No, and that's totally fair too, because like as you said,
But I think part of that is, okay, how confident are you in your team's ability to go on a run? If that happens and your team like the Penguins and you lose the first 2 games, they're not packing it in.
No.
They're going to go out there and win the next 3 games, and I'm pretty confident about that actually. But if your team like the Panthers, well, maybe not the Panthers, we'll say I guess the Penguins opposite, the Canadiens. If you're the Canadiens and you lose the first 2 games, then maybe I could see something like that. But.
Well, if teams like the Coyotes and the Panthers too, I'm wondering with this environment, you know, they don't have a lot of fans in their stands anyway. That might be almost an easier adjustment for them, but who knows, right?
We went living in Florida. We went down to Sunrise to watch the Panthers play the Penguins. There were more Penguins fans there than there were Panthers fans.
That doesn't surprise me.
That doesn't surprise me either.
The Penguins fans took over the "Let's Go Panthers" chant pretty easily.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like it was like the tourist destination there for a while to do that, because it's almost cheaper to like fly there and go watch a game there, watch an away game, than it is to watch a home game. And
well, it's also February in Florida, so if you're a snowbird, it's like peak snowbird time.
Fair. Anything else we haven't touched on yet?
I feel like we're pretty good.
Okay.
I think we did all the bases. We gave a pretty good, through different answers, I think we gave a pretty good summary of the Jets season.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Tell us how to follow you.
Yeah, you can find us on Twitter at GritPer60Pod. You can find us at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at those 3 sites on that handle. And you can find me on Twitter at bfarrell727. You can find Connor on Twitter at TC_904. And yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah.
Cool.
Also, follow the Hockey Podcast Network.
Yes, of course. Yeah, we had Isha on recently as well, so talked about the Wild. So, we appreciate that. And what, like, in terms of content, you said you did one. What other content you got coming up?
We're going to be talking to the, I believe it's like the Flames Unlimited podcast later today, actually.
Oh, okay.
And we'll be doing something similar to this, and it'll be on our podcast. It'll come out on the network first on Monday.
Okay. Well, that's great.
Are you guys going to be doing any like post game stuff after the games or anything like that?
It's going to be a 10:30 start here on the East Coast, so we're going to go with no.
Well, I think I looked at the schedule and there's only one late game.
Yeah, there's only one late game, yeah.
I was thinking, well, because our episodes come out on Monday or whatever. I was just thinking that, like, at least for game 1, probably not, because it's like a 10:30 start.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay, so you guys are still figuring that. You're not like us who just, like, records all the time and just figures we'll just record and put it out, just whatever.
Some jerks.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Kevin's a little extreme with that.
What? Anyway, yes. Well, thanks, guys, for coming on. Heidi, how do we follow you?
You can follow me at Heidi Mazeballs on Twitter and everywhere on social media.
And, of course, you can follow Sean, Beardy Canucko 3, Chris Schneids, SCHNEIDZ, Tyler T. Noble, TNOBLE, Devin Gord Howe 09, and me, KEVOLE. And thanks, everyone. We will talk to you all soon, probably tomorrow, because I'm that extreme. Bye for now.